How to record a podcast for free. Yeah, there's a way to get started for free, and you can probably do it with the equipment that you have right now. So let's get you started. Coming up next. So in this video, I'm going to go over 3 different techniques, 3 different strategies, 3 different ways how you can record a podcast for free. You're going to be surprised because I think you're going to like some of these. These are going to be they're fairly easy. All of them are fairly easy, but I'm sure there's going to be one that you're going to like the best. So let's get started. Here we go. Method number 1 for recording a podcast for free, start with your smartphone. Chances are you can do it right now on your smartphone. That's not the best way to do it. In fact, if you're going to start with your smartphone, which I totally recommend, feel free to get started with your smartphone. Go through the repetitions a few times, do a couple episodes, and that way you'll get a feel for not just the recording process, but also the prep process, the writing process, getting your idea down on paper, how to edit and stuff like that, the whole thing. It's not just recording on your smartphone, but the entire episode from beginning to end actually takes a whole lot of writing and planning and preparation. So go through the steps a few times, and then as soon as you possibly can, I would strongly recommend you do upgrade your microphone. It's okay to record through the phone, but if you get, like, say, a microphone like this is a lavalier microphone. I'm sure you've seen a million of them. But what this one does is there's a little tiny pack that I have in my pocket. That's a transmitter. The receiver is plugged into, in this case, a camera. Well, you can even plug that receiver into your smartphone. This microphone right here is going to be a heck of a lot better than, say the microphone on your smartphone. The closer it is to you, the better it's going to be. In fact, if you're just going to sit there and use this as a microphone to record, okay, that might turn out halfway decent. There's going to be some frequency limitations. There's going to be some bit rate limitations. It'll be kind of at the lower end of the spectrum of quality when it comes to audio. You really want a higher quality audio, and that comes in all the technical specs. It'll work, and this is okay. The microphone plugged into it is okay, and especially you want to use something like that if you're going to be recording the video as well, and you're going to have this set way out from you. Yeah, 2 or 3 feet or something like that. Then you're using that microphone on the end, and then it sounds really bad. This will bypass that and get you a much better quality audio to begin with. The second thing you could do, a little quick, I call this the chop shop method, you could do is sit down at your computer, use your webcam, but use the webcam strictly for its microphone capabilities. And if you take it and bring it forward like a microphone, to heck with the camera part, just use the microphone part, you're probably going to do a lot better than raw audio in your smartphone at 5 feet away. Does that make sense? Webcam up close is going to beat smartphone far away any day of the week. So you could easily record a podcast, just the podcast portion, because you've got the camera so close. You really don't want to use the camera when you're that close, but you do have a halfway decent reach to the microphone, and that should sound fairly good. Now, both of those methods, whether it's the smartphone method or the webcam method, both of those assumes that you've already got some type of audio software and you are able to enhance and emulate and mess with and properly process the audio once you're done. You are going to have to do some tweaking to it, give it some presence. It's probably going to sound a little on the high end, maybe not as much mid-range or bass to it that you'd probably want, or that your voice naturally has. You might have to either bring down some of that high end, or maybe if you can't boost, you can't create frequencies, but maybe you can just boost what low frequencies you have. Little things like that you're going to be adjusting in the EQing and the compression side, but you're not going to be able, I don't think you're going to be able to get away with just raw audio out of your cell phone, your smartphone, or your lavalier. You're probably not going to want to use raw audio straight out of your smartphone or your webcam. You will have to do a little bit to it in post-production. And if anything, there's a good chance you might have some type of rudimentary editing software, probably recording software, but maybe editing software already on your phone or on your computer. Most likely, you've got some video editing software on your phone and on your computer. I know a lot of phones now have a recorder, but maybe not so much a fancy editor when it comes to just audio. That you might have to go with some software for. But fortunately, there are some free ones out there and some very powerful free ones at that. So that should not ultimately be a stumbling block. Podcasting is just one of the subjects that we cover here. We like to cover like YouTube and video, radio commercials, whatever your business is going to need. We cover quite a bit of the audio and visual versions of advertising here on this channel. So if that's something that you're interested in, anything from YouTube channels to podcasting to radio advertising, that's what we do here. Be sure to like and subscribe and don't miss a thing. Now, method number 3 is go ahead and get a Zoom subscription. You can get a free Zoom subscription, but the only trick to that is, depending on what kind of podcast you're going to be doing, you do have a time limit with a free Zoom subscription. Either stick to the time limit or be prepared. If you do go over, you will have to start another meeting, record yourself, and then once it's all said and done, you'll end up editing those two audio files together to end up getting the full version of your recording. So it's not too bad a deal, but just keep that in mind, especially, I told you we're going to try and get this. How do you record a podcast for free? Well, that's how you do it. Stay under the time limit or be prepared to edit. Now, version number 3A, which is very similar, just about any one of those online recorders, whether it's Microsoft Teams or Google Meet, any of those you can do some recording. And once you download them to your computer, that's when you would do some rudimentary editing. And again, there may be time limits, there may be sound limits, stuff like that. Different types of post-production will be needed between EQing and compression. Whatever it is that you end up using, be prepared for some little bit of post-production tweaking. Should do you really good in the long run, though. And then one last quick little tip. And I've mentioned this in previous videos. Let's say a lot of this just kind of assumed it was just going to be you, especially the telephone, the smartphone, and the webcam technique in the first half of the video was just assuming it was you. Now, if you're doing some type of a group or a panel or something like that, or you're doing an interview, a long-distance interview, one thing to watch out for, especially in Zoom, make sure that every participant has their own separate audio file. Basically, rooms are different, microphones are different, ambient sound is going to be different. So in order to EQ them, you're going to want to EQ them and process them separately and individually. That way they can sound more like, I mean, you can get them to sound pretty close to being in the same room, even when they're not. The trick is, this is what you're up against. In voiceover recording, we say the recording, the voiceover, is 10% microphone, 90% room treatment. And when you got people across the country, you know they're not using the same mic, and you know they're not using the same room. So everybody's going to sound different. So be sure to set that option in Zoom to have separate audio files, and that'll set you up for some really nice post-production tricks. So don't forget that one before you get started. Now, to get you started, what we do have is I have created a free guide to free audio editing software. There's a bunch of software out there that is free, and some of them are some pretty robust programs. I've compiled them together, added some pros and cons, some learning curves, and who's, beginner, intermediate, and advanced, but heck, they're free. Some of them have a steep learning curve, others are very intuitive. Whatever it is that you think works for you, that's the one you should use. And the other thing is, since they're free, go ahead and try them all. I mean, why not? They're free. So, in the description down below is a link. Click on that and get your free guide to the free audio editing software. I'm Nic Natarella with AdWise Creative. Thank you for watching.